That's what Campbell soups are. Mmm, good.
Campbell Soups invite you to meet Corliss Archer, starring Janet Waldo. And here's Corliss Archer.
Gee, it's good to be back, Mr. Sharbert.
And on behalf of Campbell Soups, may I say we're all glad to have you and your family and friends back with us as, sort of our ambassadors of goodwill.
Oh, Mr. Sharbert, what a perfectly lovely thought. Me an ambassador. What do I have to do?
Just be your own sweet and charming self, Corliss.
Oh, Mr. Sharbert. But golly, there must be lots of new things people ought to know about Campbell Soups. I mean, now that we're all back again.
Well, I'll say there is. Here's some really big news. All 21 kinds of Campbell Soups are back on dealer shelves, so folks can serve just the soup they want when they want it. For instance, they might dress up a very simple meal by serving Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. Okay, Corliss?
Absolutely, Mr. Sharbert. And Mr. Sharbert?
Yes, Corliss?
Do you really think I'm sweet and charming?
As only a 16-year-old girl can be. It's a seemingly normal Friday afternoon at the Archer home. Quiet, peaceful, and serene. You see, Corliss is out somewhere. Mr. Archer is home from the office with a sick headache, and Mrs. Archer is standing by sympathetically.
Oh.
Harry, darling, isn't there anything I can get you?
Yes, a new head.
Well, are you sure there isn't anything I can do?
Oh, yes, I think I'll be all right as long as I'm not exposed to any sudden noises.
Oh, poor Harry.
And speaking of sudden noises, where's Corliss?
Off somewhere. I suppose she's safe behind a soda at Schroeder's.
Good.
Now, you just relax and read your newspaper, dear. I'll see that nothing disturbs you.
Come on, good dog,
Corliss.
Dog, Veronica, Daddy.
For heaven's sake, your father doesn't...
Golly, Veronica, I didn't mean for you to jump up on Daddy. You know he doesn't like dogs on his lap when he's reading his newspaper. Now, down, Veronica. Come on, down.
You might as well let her finish Dick Tracy.
Veronica, get down. Now, you get out to the kitchen. Come on. That's a good dog.
Corliss, your father came home from the office with a terrible headache.
Oh, really, Mom? Oh, thanks for the warning.
Well, darling, I didn't mean it as a warning. Is that all the sympathy you can show for your poor father?
Oh, golly, Mom, of course I sympathize. Ah, Daddy, I'm so sorry. Is there anything in the world I can do?
You could tone yourself down to a mere uproar for a few hours.
I'll be quiet, Angel. I promise I won't make a single solitary unnecessary sound.
Thank you, baby. And go a little easy on the sounds that are necessary, will you?
I'll be as quiet as a clam. Oh, Mom, do you know what's been happening right under my very nose, and I ignored it on account of I had several other things on my mind?
Well, I can't imagine, Corliss.
Well, it seems that Benson's department store is again having the most utterly super contest.
Oh.
Oh, not now, dear. You're disturbing your father again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Mom, I'll simply die unless I tell you, because Benson's is actually having its annual photo contest to pick the sweetheart of the year, and I've just got to...
Corliss, your father. How many times must I tell you?
Oh, what's the use, Janet? You can't dam up an ocean with your bare hands. Spill it, Corliss.
Well, Daddy, you remember last year how Benson's had its contest where every boy submitted a picture of his girlfriend and they posted the pictures and everyone voted and the girl who got the most votes was crowned Benson's sweetheart of the year, remember?
I might have remembered before you started that sentence, but I was a young man then.
Well, what I actually mean is Benson's is having its sweetheart of the year contest again. And I'll simply curdle up and die unless I win this time.
Well, who won last year, dear?
Well, it was a neck-and-neck race between me and that Betty Cameron. But merely on account of the fact that Dexter submitted a very bad photo of me. That frizzed-out blonde, immersed triumphant.
Emerged, Corliss. Immersed means all wet.
Daddy, that's an utterly perfect description of her. I think it's Dexter.
You think it's Dexter? Janet.
Yes, dear.
Remind me to ask Bill Franklin why he raised his boy to be a banshee.
Corliss! Hey, Corliss!
Don't you think you'd better scream back at him, Corliss, before the plaster starts falling?
All right, Daddy. Dexter, come on in!
Oh, my poor aching head.
Hi, Corliss. Good evening, Mrs. Archer.
Good evening, Dexter.
Hello, Mr. Archer.
Hello.
Dexter Franklin, where have you been? I've been waiting for you almost all afternoon.
Holy cow, Corliss, you mean we had a date?
Honestly, Dexter, sometimes merely putting up with you requires more than a girl can put up with.
Well, gosh, Corliss, I really don't remember making any date. Well, where were we supposed to go, anyway?
My dear boy, several weeks ago we planned to spend some time together on a very important endeavor.
Holy cow, my memory sure must be getting bad.
Well, Benson's is conducting the voting tomorrow in the Sweetheart of the Year contest, and you haven't even sent my picture in yet.
Well, gosh, why didn't you remind me, Corliss?
Well, really, Dexter, a person can't just rush up to a person and practically force a person to think his girlfriend is something special and worthy of being entered in a Sweetheart of the Year contest. I mean, really, Dexter.
Well, gosh, it isn't too late to enter the picture, is it? I mean, the voting isn't until tomorrow, and this is only today.
Dexter, at times you show a rare gift for analysis.
Harry, hush.
Well, the trouble is, Corliss, I don't have a good picture of you. Every time you get really sore at me, you make me give them back to you.
Well, it just so happens, Dexter, that I have one of my pictures right here.
Oh, swell, Corliss. But we'd better start dashing. Benson's will be closed in a little over an hour.
Here, you can have this one for the contest.
Oh, thanks, Corliss. Holy cow, Corliss. You don't want to go giving Benson's this picture.
And just why not?
Well, gosh, it's, well, holy cow, it just isn't right. Even I can see that.
Really, Dexter, just because a girl's wearing a strapless white bathing suit is no reason for a nearly grown man to yell, holy cow, and get red in the face like an infant.
Well, I know, but gosh, Corliss, you've got lots of other pictures, haven't you?
Miss Dexter's absolutely right, Corliss. I don't believe it's proper for a girl your age to have her picture displayed in that kind of bathing suit.
But, Mother, if I can wear that bathing suit, why can't I? Daddy.
I'm afraid your mother's right, Corliss.
Oh, golly. Now I won't be able to enter the contest, and that Betty Cameron is going to win again, and I'll practically never be able to show my face anymore.
Well, Corliss, you must have other snapshots.
But, Mother, I haven't one. Oh, please, None, can't you sort of close one eye and...
No, Corliss, I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh, wait a minute. I've got a picture of you, Corliss. It's the one that Mildred took 2 weeks ago of you and me together. I've been carrying it with me ever since.
Well, for goodness sakes, where is it?
Right here, next to my heart. No, it's in my back pocket. Here you are.
Oh, Dexter, it's all dirty and creased.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's a shame, because it's awfully good of me. I think.
I think it's terrific.
Now, Dexter, if I could just cut you out of it and throw you away. Oh, but no, I'd be all crowded over on the edge.
Hey, maybe we could have a print made with just you in it.
Oh, that'd be a swell idea if we had the time to do it.
Yeah, Benson's will be closing.
I know. Raymond.
Raymond?
Certainly. He's got all sorts of photography gadgets in the cellar of his house. Come on, Dexter. Let's dash right over there and see him.
Now, let me get this straight. You want me to take this picture and reprint it so that Dexter's out and only Corliss is in?
Yeah, that's right, Raymond. Can you do it?
Well, it all depends. You see, I'm awfully busy right now on an important scientific matter.
Raymond, if I were to merely hint to your parents about a little explosion I saw coming out of this cellar the other day, why...
I didn't say I wouldn't.
Then you will?
I didn't say I would.
Well, for Pete's sakes, Raymond, what do you say?
I say it's all very dumb. Why not take it down to Schroeder's?
Because we've got to have it in a half hour. Schroeder's would take a week, so would any place else.
In other words, I'm the only person in the world who can solve your problem.
Yes, Raymond.
Do you agree, Dexter?
Well, sure you're the only one. Holy cow, what are you driving at?
How much is your weekly allowance, Dexter?
Why, it's 50 cents. Wait a minute, Raymond. You mean you're going to charge 50 cents for this job?
Don't be dumb. Of course I'm not going to charge 50 cents. I'm going to charge $1.
$1? Holy cow, don't you think that's a little expensive? Even for you.
Prices are up all over. Take it or leave it.
Raymond Ames, there are times when you are positively the biggest little stinker in the world.
Corliss, this is a very dumb time for you to insult me.
Look, Raymond, how about 75 cents and my pocket knife?
Let's see the knife.
Here.
Blade's rusty. Handle's cracked. Catch is busted. But you're not such a bad guy, Dexter. It's a deal.
I rushed back to tell you, Corliss. It was nip and tuck, but I made it all right.
Oh, thank heaven. Did Raymond do a good job on the picture?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I never got a chance to see it.
You didn't see it?
No, the little stinker left me just enough time to dash down to Benson's.
Oh.
And he said the picture was a little wet, so he put it in an envelope and told me not to touch it.
Oh, I hope that it came out all right. That nasty little child would be just mean enough to do a bad job on purpose.
No, he'd better not have. I didn't pay him yet. I just gave him my pocket knife for a down payment.
Oh, Dexter, you're a darling. I do so want to win that contest.
Hi, everybody.
Well, if it isn't our old friend, Raymond Ames. And just what did you come to see me about, Raymond?
I've got some news for you.
Look, Raymond, if it's for nothing, we'll listen. But if you think you're going to charge
Don't
for this...
be dumb. I just came over to give you back your pocket knife and tell you that you don't have to pay me 75 cents anymore.
Raymond Ames, don't tell me you have gone soft-hearted.
It's just a matter of business. I give my clients what they pay for or give them back their money.
Just what is that supposed to mean?
Well, you ordered a picture of Corliss.
Yes, with a half of the picture showing Dexter thrown away.
Right. But due to circumstances beyond my control, I made a print of Dexter and threw you away.
Holy cow!
Mistakes happen, you know. Even experts like me make them.
But whose picture was in the envelope Dexter brought down to Benson?
I've been trying to tell you. It was Dexter's.
What? Raymond Ames, you are the stupidest, nastiest, most vicious little boy I ever met.
Don't get excited. Dexter might become famous.
You're famous?
Sure.
Oh, now I'm not in the contest after all, and that frizzed-out blonde Betty Cameron is going to win again.
Don't be too sure. Nothing in the rules against a man winning. If we can swing enough votes Dexter's way, he might get elected Sweetheart of the Year.
Oh, me? Me entered in a Sweetheart of the Year contest?
Cheer up. Worse things can happen. Well, bye, Corliss. And Dexter.
Yes?
Good night, sweetheart.
Mushrooms. Now, there's a word that calls up visions of grand, good eating. Good cooks use mushrooms as the crowning touch of flavor for many of their choicest dishes. And say if thinking of mushrooms makes your mouth water, you owe it to yourself to get next to a plate of Campbell's Cream of Mushroom Soup. For here are lots of plump, tender mushrooms blended with sweet cream. Every rich spoonful is just filled with the delicate flavor of choice young mushrooms. And you'll find lots of tender mushroom slices to make this grand soup extra tempting. Good. Well, no wonder more and more people are asking for it. No wonder it's become America's luxury soup. It'd be a fine idea to start supper tomorrow with plates of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. Well, it's the next day, and the Archers are at the breakfast table.
Eat your cereal, Corliss.
I don't really think I care for any cereal, Mother. I'm actually not very hungry.
Well, it's too bad, baby. What's bothering you?
Daddy, today is Benson's Sweetheart of the Year contest. And after all, when practically one's own flesh and blood can't cooperate to the extent of helping a person to become the Sweetheart of the Year, what is there to look forward to?
Well, surely you haven't quarreled with poor Dexter again.
Poor Dexter. Poor Dexter. Honestly, Mother, the way you and Daddy sympathize with that boy, you'd think he was your only daughter instead of me.
Well, I'd hardly say that. But I suppose, as usual, Dexter has committed some dastardly crime that's too horrible even to think about.
Oh, Daddy, Dexter was actually only an innocent bypasser. He was that little stinker, Raymond.
Well, what on earth did Raymond do to make you so mad at him, Corliss?
All he did was give Dexter the wrong picture so that when Dexter entered me in Benson's Sweetheart of the Year contest, I wasn't entered at all and Dexter was.
I wonder how Dexter looks in a strapless white bathing suit.
Oh, Corliss, perhaps it's just as well you're not in the contest. After all, dear, you couldn't be sure you were going to win.
But now Betty Cameron's going to win again. I'll die. That's what I'll do. I'll just die.
Well, dear, there's always next year.
Next year? Seriously, Mother, a girl can't go on indefinitely retaining her looks.
Well, don't worry about that, Corliss. If it's any consolation, my next Christmas present to you will be a complete facelifting.
Harry.
Honest, Daddy? Will it work?
Well, certainly it'll work. Why, I know a woman of 50 who had her face lifted, and as a result, the most amazing thing happened.
Oh, what?
She now has a daughter older than she is.
Oh, Harry, sometimes you're so silly.
Well, I'm off to the office. Can I drop you anywhere, Corliss?
Well, if you're going past Schroeder's drugstore, Daddy, I'd appreciate a lift. Mr. Schroeder posts the return so we don't have to hang around outside Benson.
Well, come on, baby. Here's 50 cents. I'll drive you down to Schroeder's where you can drown your sorrows in the biggest, thickest, gooeyest, double-rich chocolate malted milk you've ever had. Well, here you are, baby. Schroeder's drugstore and gabble shoppy.
Thanks for the lift, Daddy. I'll see you at dinner.
All right, Corliss. And, baby, although I think you're too young to have anything but friends, I can't help wishing confusion to your enemies.
Oh, thanks, Angel. You're the most understanding Daddy in the whole wide world.
Bye, dear.
Bye.
Hey, Corliss. Before you go in, I've got a proposition that might interest you.
I have had enough of your fake propositions to last me a lifetime, Raymond.
Look, let's not waste words hating me. Here's my proposition. You'd give your right eye if Betty Cameron would lose this contest, wouldn't you? Right?
Really, Raymond, I don't see why the affairs of your elders should be the least concern of yours.
I can fix it so Betty loses.
How?
It's a trade secret. But all I want from you is a promise.
What sort of a promise?
You remember you mentioned something about a certain explosion in a certain cellar?
Oh, that. What about it?
Well, in return for swinging the contest away from Betty, you must promise never as long as you live to allude to refer to, and above all, not to tell my parents about said explosion. Which was caused by a little carelessness with the chemist, he said.
And you'll keep Betty Cameron from winning if I merely promise that?
I will.
I promise.
It's a deal?
It's a deal. Oh, and I think you ought to know that I'd never have told your parents about the explosion anyhow.
Well, in my business, you can't afford to take chances. exciting. Corliss, what's this I hear about you not being entered in the Sweetheart of the Year contest?
Well, I'm not. And there's a certain little stinker running around loose that I can thank for it.
That can only be my darling little brother Raymond. Corliss, did he pull one of his tricks on you?
Well, it could possibly have been an honest, simple-minded mistake, but with Raymond, who knows?
Honestly, that child. Yesterday I overheard Dad tell Mom that he wouldn't be at all surprised if Raymond wound up as the youngest inmate in the history of Alcatraz.
Really, Mildred, you and your mother and father are such nice people. It's hard to imagine Raymond is even a distant relative.
Dad says practically the same thing. I've heard him say 100 times that the stork that brought Raymond must have come to the wrong house by mistake. Oh, by the way, Corliss, are you still on speaking terms with that drip, Dexter?
Well, of course. Why?
Because he's standing in the doorway with that frightened look he gets when you don't talk to him for a minute.
Oh, the poor darling. Dexter? Oh, Dexter, over here.
Oh, hello, Corliss.
Hi, Dad.
Fancy meeting you here. Hi, Mildred.
Dexter Franklin, what on earth's the matter with you? You're as nervous as a cat who's misplaced her kitten.
Yeah, am I?
Probably a guilty conscience.
Oh, no, it isn't that, Mildred. Corliss knows what it is. It's that little stinker, Raymond.
What's the little crime wave done to you?
I'd rather not say. The fewer people who know about it, the better.
Mildred, Dexter has the honor of being the only man entered in the Sweetheart of the Year contest.
Holy cow, Corliss, do you have to tell everything you know?
You mean Dexter might become the Sweetheart of the Year? Oh, no!
Holy cow, Corliss, see what you've done?
Oh, she was bound to find out sooner or later anyway.
Oh, gosh, if I get so much as one vote,
Oh, look, there's Raymond.
You just ignore him. Sometimes he goes away.
Oh, I want to speak to him. Raymond! Hey, Raymond!
Hi, Corliss. Well, a friendly little gathering. Yes, and please don't join us and make it unfriendly.
Raymond, have you got any news?
About our private little matter, nothing definite. But the wheels are turning, Corliss. I've just brought the returns over to Mr. Schroeder, and he'll read them in a minute.
Oh.
Boys and girls, I suppose you'd like to hear about the early balloting of Benson's Sweetheart of the Year contest.
Oh, I think we would.
Joanne Summers, 22. Ernestine Fuller, 27. And Stebbins, 19.
Oh, that's swell. Duchess Cameron is being totally ignored.
Betty Cameron, 76.
Raymond, you said that you...
Dexter Franklin, none.
Raymond, I'm going to take a poke at you for this if I have to wait for you to grow up.
Raymond, did we make a solemn deal or did we not? And if we did, how come Betty Cameron's in the running?
Just remember, Corliss, the wheels are turning.
Boys and girls, the semifinal returns. Joanne Summers, 88. Ernestine Fuller, 102. And Stebbins, 117.
Washington High finally crashed through.
Jacqueline Pruitt, 67. Betty Cameron, 194.
Well, I don't see what there is to cheer about.
It just shows what you can do with a bottle of peroxide.
I'll never give up wondering what people see in her.
Say, Mr. Schroeder, you didn't read off all the returns, did you?
All that came in, Martin. Just waiting on the finals any minute now.
But what about Dexter Franklin? I voted for Dexter 3 times myself.
If that lummox Martin Wilcox knows what's good for him, he'll keep his big mouth shut.
I guess Dexter just isn't in the running, Martin.
Oh, I don't see why not. He's a sweetheart if I ever saw one.
You can carry that kind of talk too far, Wilcox.
Oh, for Pete's sake, you don't have to get sore about it, Franklin. Maybe you can be Sweetheart of the Year next year.
Wilcox, you just say sweetheart one more time and I'm coming over.
Dexter, I absolutely forbid you to use violence in front of ladies in this store. If you and Martin want to fight, do it after the contest outside.
Who we can all watch.
Mildred, where could that Raymond have gone to?
Probably under some rocks. Oh, Corliss, look.
Huh?
It's Madame Pompadour Dubarry Cameron herself.
Oh.
And she's coming over to show off a little bit, I'll bet. Well, Mildred. Hello, Betty. And Corliss. My dear, it's been ages. I've missed you terribly.
Really?
Well, Betty, it looks like you've outsmarted the voters again.
How do you do it? With mirrors?
No, dear, with photographs. By the way, dear, where was your photograph? I looked all over the board and couldn't find it.
Well, I didn't enter the contest, Betty. I figured the only way anybody ever wins is by simply begging one's friends to vote for one.
Oh, was that the reason? I had the silly notion that after last year's contest, you decided it was all utterly hopeless. Well, au revoir, Corliss, dear, and I hope you don't get too ill from eating all those sour grapes. Goodbye, Mildred.
Oh, it's positively sinful the amount I hate her.
Oh, she's just a grade A number one. And here comes another. Hello, Corliss. Back again. You want to see me?
Raymond Ames, I demand to know what happened to our agreement. Or did your turning wheels go boom like a certain chemical set in a certain cellar, if you know what I mean?
My plan worked beautifully. If your brilliant high school crowd wasn't so dumb, you'd have known that we grammar school students can vote in the contest, too.
Meaning what?
Meaning this. The right word in the right places to the right kids made them vote the way I wanted.
Wait, you mean Betty didn't win after all?
The boys vote anyway, I tell them.
But who won? Who?
I see Mr. Schroeder's about to announce the final official returns. I suggest you listen.
All right, quiet. Everybody quiet. The official final returns in the Benson Sweetheart of the Year contest are as follows. Joanne Summers, 112. Ann Stebbins, 117. Ernestine Fuller, 137. Betty Cameron, 225. Quiet. I have one final name to call.
Another name. Holy cow, what suspense.
The last name with 236 votes, the winner and official Benson Sweetheart of the Year is Dexter Franklin.
Dexter, you!
Me, the sweetheart.
Holy cow!
Something to turn an ordinary meal into an event. Remember Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. For here's a soup that gives any meal a luxury touch, a party touch. Just taste that rich, delightful flavor. Plump young hothouse mushrooms blended with sweet cream and all those tender slices of mushrooms. Good. To make a soup so fine is an art. To eat it, an experience in good living. Have you served Campbell's cream of mushroom soup at your house lately? Several hectic and, for Dexter, unhappy hours later, we find the sweetheart of the year taking advice where he finds it.
Honest, Mr. Archer, if my old man should find out his only son has become sweetheart of the year, he'd wail the tar out of me.
Well, don't worry about your dad, Dexter. I'll explain things to him.
You want it on the long-distance phone?
Holy cow, who is it?
Life magazine. They want to take pictures of you actually being crowned sweetheart of the year.
Tell them no, that I absolutely forbid it.
Forbid it? Dexter, one would almost think you were ashamed. After all, Dexter, there's me to consider, too.
You?
Certainly. When I gave the man the story, he practically promised I could be in almost every picture.
Good. That's what Campbell soups are. Good.
You just heard Meet Corliss Archer, starring Janet Waldo as Corliss with Sam Edwards as Dexter. Meet Corliss Archer is based upon characters created by F. Hugh Herbert. Music was composed and conducted by Charles Dance.
Franco-American spaghetti. F-A, Franco-American. F-A, Franco-American. F-A, Franco-American. Back at your grocer's again.
Franco-American spaghetti is back. America's favorite. The spaghetti with the extra good sauce. Ready cooked to give grand, good eating, but quick. Get a can of Franco-American spaghetti.
F-A, Franco-American, back at your grocer's again.
This is Del Sharbutt inviting you to listen in and meet Corliss Archer again next Sunday and bidding you good night from Hollywood. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Go upstairs. Go downstairs. Go all through your house. Yes, go all through your house. Watch electricity serving you. Then look at your family budget.
Electric service does so much, yet costs so little.
Your electric service is the biggest bargain in your family budget today. It's low in price, high in value. That's because America's business-managed electric light and power companies manage so efficiently. Because their thousands of employees work so skillfully. And because you and your neighbors use electric service so widely. Yes, despite the higher costs of supplying it to you, electric service is still the biggest bargain in your family budget because...
Electric service does so much, yet costs so little.
Well, it's a typical summer day at the Archer household. The Archers, Mr. and Mrs., and their daughter Corliss are having breakfast. Mr. Archer is trying to read the morning mail, and Corliss, as usual, is prattling away about a very serious problem.
And that isn't the worst part of it, Mom. We not only have to write a composition before school starts, but we have to make it about something exciting that happened this summer.
Well, dear, I'm sure you'll think of something. What are you reading, Harry?
Oh, a letter from my old roommate at law school, Ned Brown. You remember him?
Yes, very well. How is he?
He's fine. He's writing to thank me for a favor I did for him last month and wants to know if he can return it.
He's practicing in Washington, isn't he?
Yes, doing very well, too.
Oh, that's nice. Harry, I don't like to rush you, but it's getting rather late.
Oh, that's all right. I'm not going to the office this morning. I'm trying a case, and I'm going directly to court. Don't have to be there till 9:30.
Oh, golly, Daddy, what kind of a case? Is it a murder, a divorce, or what?
No, Corliss. It's a case of a client of mine trying to collect some money that's legally due him.
Oh.
Who's the client, Harry?
A fellow named Johnson, new client. He's suing a man who owes him back rent.
Well, why doesn't he pay his rent?
Says he has no money.
Then what's the use of suing him?
I should have left when I was even. Simply this, Corliss. I'll get a judgment against this man. Then, if and when he does have some money, he's ordered by the court to pay it.
What happens if he doesn't?
In that case, he's held in contempt of court. And we have laws for people who hold our courts in contempt.
Oh, Daddy, this is fascinating. Go on.
Well, that's all there is. Simple, what?
Well, it's very simple once you get the hang of it. I never realized... That sounds like Dexter.
It sounds like a sick hippopotamus, but it's... probably Dexter.
Tell him to come in, dear. Some of the neighbors may still be sleeping.
Not now, they aren't.
Come on in, Dexter. We're in the breakfast room.
Oh, good morning, Miss Archer. Oh, Mr. Archer.
Hi, Dad.
Hello, Dexter.
Dexter,
Yeah, Mr. Archer?
just outside our front door, there is a little button. That button is connected to a switch, which in turn is connected to a copper wire. When pressed, the little button rings a little bell in our kitchen.
Gee whiz, you mean you got a new doorbell?
No, Dexter, it's the same doorbell we've had since the house was built 20 years ago. And that bell's been ringing ever since.
Gee, doesn't it get on your nerves?
Well, I have to be going. I know you'll excuse me, Dexter.
Oh, sure, Mr. Archer. Go right ahead.
Oh, thank you. Bye, Corliss.
Bye, Angel. Good luck on your lawsuit.
So long, Mr. Archer.
So long, Dexter, but I'm afraid not for too long.
I'll go to the door with you, Harry. Corliss, you and Dexter can do the breakfast dishes if you like.
Holy cow, I knew I shouldn't have come over here so early.
Dexter,
Yeah?
have you absolutely made up your mind about being a doctor?
Sure, why?
Well, nothing, only... Well, I think being married to a doctor would be wonderful. Don't misunderstand me. I mean, having babies for nothing and stuff like that.
Well, what do you mean having babies for nothing? Doctors get good money for having babies. I mean, bringing babies. I mean...
Yes, Dexter, dear, I know what you mean. Only I was just thinking, well, have you ever thought of being a lawyer?
Oh, sure, lots of times. But I'd rather be a doctor.
I think law is just fascinating.
So is medicine. What's wrong with being a doctor?
Nothing. It's just that my daddy doesn't think you'll ever be a doctor.
Huh? Well, why not?
Well, He thinks you're too clumsy to be a surgeon and too noisy to be a physician.
He does, huh? Your father's always saying things about me. Like, one time he said I didn't have a brain as big as a peanut, and I know I have.
Dexter, stop being a baby. Listen, Daddy's trying a very important case today, and I was just thinking I'd like to see it.
Why?
Well, I may be able to get some material for my composition. You know, the one who's got to write this summer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what kind of material?
Well, it's a very interesting case about a very interesting man who has no money. Let's go down to the courthouse and watch him. This poor, miserable soul may be the subject I'm looking for my English composition.
Okay, that's a swell idea. Maybe I can get something from watching him, too. Uh-oh.
Dexter, Franklin, look what you've done. You've broken a saucer. Now Mother will be stuck with an odd cup.
Oops. Not now, she won't. I just broke the cup.
Dexter, you clumsy idiot. All I can say is that if you and I ever do get married, and if you ever do become a doctor, and if we ever do have any children, somebody else will bring them into the world. I'm glad we're finally out of that courtroom. If anyone had ever told me that my father was a hard-hearted, mean, cruel, old skinflint, I never would have believed it.
What are you talking about? All lawyers act like that in court. They have to.
I don't believe it. Anyone with half an eye could tell Mr. What's his name?
You mean the fellow your father's suing? Mr. Jenkins?
Yes, Mr. Jenkins. Anyone could see he was telling the truth.
Your father couldn't.
I know, and that's what makes me so mad.
I don't think your father will want you to come to court again. He looked pretty sore at the way you acted.
Well, I can't help it. I only did what any truth-respecting person would have done.
You mean when you yelled out, "I object"?
Yes, and I certainly did object.
Well, maybe so. But I don't think spectators are supposed to object out loud.
I don't see why not.
Well, anyway, the judge didn't think so. Because if you remember, that's why we were kicked out of court.
Well, anyway, I guess I showed that judge.
Yeah. Oh, gee, I sure was proud of you, Corliss. With your head held high and that determined look on your face, you were the picture of dignity as the sheriff dragged you out the door.
I don't care. I think the judge had no right to have me thrown out just because I objected.
Well, all your father asked him was if he could pay the back rent.
But that's so silly. Daddy knows he can't pay the back rent. He told me so this morning.
And why did he ask him?
That's why I'm so mad. I think Daddy was just deliberately trying to rub it in or something. Did you hear him say he had 6 children?
Who, your father?
No, Dopey, Mr. Jenkins. And he hasn't worked in ages. If Daddy wasn't so mean, he'd be helping him instead of suing him.
Now, Corliss, you're fine.
Dexter, wait. I just had a terrific idea.
Uh-oh. What?
If Daddy won't help those people, I will.
Huh? How can you help them?
Well, I can, and you can, too. Now, listen. Here's what we'll do.
Janet, it was the darndest thing. It was so funny, I can't even get mad about it.
Well, what happened?
Well, while I was questioning the defendant, Mr. Jenkins, Corliss apparently didn't like my line of questioning, so she yelled right out in a loud voice, "I object!"
Oh, no. Well, then what happened?
Judge McCarthy threw her out of court.
Oh, good heavens. Did the judge know who she was?
No, I took great pains to let him think she was a complete stranger.
Well, I wonder where she is. It's almost dinner time.
Probably thinking up a good explanation for her actions in court.
I think I'll start dinner anyway. She ought to be home soon.
Swell.
I've got your favorite dish, a big, juicy sirloin steak.
Oh, boy, let's get at it. I'm starved.
I'll put it on the fire right away. Come on out to the kitchen and talk to me.
Okay. I wish you could have seen the look on Judge McCarthy's face when he heard Corliss pipe up right out of the 5th row.
That's funny.
What is?
Can't find the steak. I left it right in the refrigerator. Now it's not there.
You sure you didn't leave it at the butcher's?
Well, of course I'm sure. Why should I leave it at the butcher's?
I don't know, dear, but women are so absent-minded sometimes.
Harry, Archer, don't try to be funny. I brought that steak home in my own hands and put it in the icebox.
Well, then it should be there now.
Yes, it should. Let's see now. I went from the butcher's to the grocer's and then to the Franklin's for a minute.
Don't tell me you left that steak at the Franklin's. I couldn't bear the thought of Dexter sticking his teeth into it.
Of course I didn't leave it at the Franklin's.
I told you I put it in the icebox.
I know. Well, let's get dressed and go out to dinner, shall we?
Oh, but Harry, that's ridiculous. I know I put it in.
Yes, dear, but I want to go out anyway. We haven't been out to dinner in ages. It'll do us good.
Well, all right, but I wish I knew
Now,
what...
Janet, forget it. Come on, I'll take a quick shower, and by that time, Corliss ought to be home, and we can go to Marcel's.
Marcel?
Sure, why not? Let's shoot the works.
Well, okay, Harry, if you say so. Now, I wonder where that steak could be. Harry, shall I wear my green dress or my blue one?
What's that, Janet?
Shall I wear my green dress or my blue one?
Wear the red one.
Oh, dear. Men are no help at all like a time like this.
Hello, Mom. Well, why are you getting all dressed up?
Corliss, where on earth have you been?
Out with Dexter. Where are you going?
We're going out, dear. You too. Change your dress right away.
Janet, who are you talking to? Oh, hello, Corliss. I didn't hear you come in.
Hello, Daddy.
I should hold you in contempt of court after what you did today.
I know, Daddy, and I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right. Just don't come into any of my cases anymore, and you're forgiven.
Well, it was just that I was so sorry for that poor man.
I know, and you just couldn't keep your feelings to yourself.
No, Daddy, I couldn't. Where are we going?
We're going to Marcel's for dinner to celebrate.
Swell. What are we celebrating?
Oh, I don't know. Just the fact that your mother mislaid the steak she bought for dinner.
Now, Harry, I didn't...
Oh, golly.
What do you mean, oh, golly?
Oh, nothing. Just... Oh, golly.
Well, hurry up and get dressed, baby.
All right, Daddy.
Janet.
Well, Harry, what is it?
My suit. My new suit. Where is it?
I didn't even know you had a new suit.
Oh, that's right. I was saving it for a surprise. It's gone.
Are you sure you didn't leave it at the tailor's? You know how absent-minded men are sometimes.
Now, look here, Janet. If this is a joke...
Harry, I tell you, I never saw your new suit.
Well, then where is it?
I don't know. Maybe a moth ate it.
He must have been pretty hungry. He ate the buttons, too.
Mom. Well, Daddy, what's the matter?
I can't find it. That's what's the matter.
Your father has mislaid his new suit, dear.
I tell you, I did not mislay it. I hung it right here in this closet, and now it's gone.
Oh, golly.
Man doesn't just go around thinking he put a suit of clothes in the closet and then not... What do you mean, oh, golly?
Nothing. Was it a gray one?
Yes, Corliss, it was a gray one. A new gray one. Why?
Nothing, only... Oh, golly.
Will you please stop saying, oh, golly?
All right, Daddy. Holy cow!
Corliss, I suspect from your attitude that you know something about the disappearance of my new suit. Do you?
Yes, Daddy.
Corliss.
Well, Corliss?
Well, Daddy, Well, it's really all your fault. This morning in court, I got to feeling so sorry for poor Mr. Jenkins that this afternoon Dexter and I went to see his family to see if there wasn't something we could do for him.
Go up. Hello, dear.
Hello, Harry. Is there anything the matter?
No. Why?
Well, you sound kind of worried.
Well, do I? Well, it's nothing, really. You know that lawsuit of mine against Jenkins?
I should know it, the way Corliss is mixed up in it.
Well, maybe Corliss is right, after all.
What do you mean, Harry?
Well, it seems that the reason Johnson is suing Jenkins is not for the reason I thought at all.
Really?
No. Johnson knows about this invention. He's suing so that the court will award him actual satisfaction of the debt now. He told me today he'd accept the plans of the invention as the complete settlement of the debt.
But, Harry, that doesn't seem fair.
Well, you're darn right it isn't fair. If that invention's worth anything, it's worth a darn sight more than the back rent, and Johnson must know it, or he wouldn't be so anxious to get it.
It seems to me Johnson should buy the invention for whatever it's worth and then deduct the money Jenkins owes him.
That's absolutely right.
Well, really, Harry, I don't see why you represent a man who's so unscrupulous.
I didn't know he was unscrupulous. I haven't handled his business very long.
Are you going to go through with the case?
I'll have to. Legally, Johnson's not suing for the invention. He just thinks that by squeezing Jenkins, he can get it for next to nothing.
I see. Well, what are you going to do?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I can...
Hello. Hello, Mom. Hello, Daddy.
Hi, Mr. Archer.
honey.
Hello, Mrs. Archer.
Oh, hello. Where have you been all day?
Oh, just around.
Yeah, around at the Jenkins. Holy cow, they've got more clothes than I have.
Well, most everyone has, Dexter.
Yeah, but you ought to see what Corliss got them today. All day we've been canvassing the neighborhood for things.
What about my suit?
Yeah, they got that, too.
I know that, Dexter. I'm asking Corliss if she got it back.
No, it isn't back from the tailor's yet.
Corliss?
I'm sorry, Daddy, but Mr. Jenkins had already taken it to be altered. He was very grateful.
Yeah. Mr. Jenkins said we were lifesavers.
If he meant you had holes in your heads, he was right. Grateful. I should think he would be grateful. Why,
I should think that's the least we could do after all the unhappiness you're causing him. Honestly, I'm simply mortified when I think of my own father persecuting those poor people.
Well, and how do the Jenkins like the idea of accepting gifts from the daughter of their persecutor?
Holy cow, they don't know who Corliss is. If she told them she's your daughter, they'd probably kick her right out of the house.
Well, who do they think you are exactly?
Well, I told him I was Corliss Brown.
Why Brown?
Well, you mentioned that man you went to school with named Ned Brown, so I just happened to remember it, and I told him I was his daughter.
Oh, this is the end. First I have my dinner taken away, then my new suit, and now my own daughter.
Your fishing rod, too.
What?
Sure, we were cleaning out the attic today, and Corliss found an old fishing rod, and she said you never used it anymore, so we took it to the Jenkins.
May I ask what Mr. Jenkins is going to do with my fishing rod?
Nothing. Mrs. Jenkins is going to use it. She's taking it apart to use for curtain rods.
Corliss, tomorrow I will bring home my golf clubs. Mr. Jenkins can no doubt find a way to make a new type egg beater out of them.
Well, I don't like to say anything, Mr. Archer, but I've seen you play golf, and I think you'd play better with an egg beater.
All right, Dexter, that's enough.
It's dinner time, Corliss. Run upstairs and wash your hands and face.
Yes, Mom.
Would you like to stay for dinner, Dexter?
No, boy, I'll say.
We're only having leftovers.
Oh, that's all right. We are, too, but I always think other people's leftovers are much more interesting than your own. It's fun trying to guess what they were left over from.
Well, we better get at them quick. In a day or two, there won't be anything left over in this house but the barest necessities of life. Anybody home?
Hello, Harry.
Hello, Janet. Great news.
Why? What happened?
The Jenkins thing's finally settled.
Well, I'm glad of that. Did you win the suit?
I'll say I did, but that's not the best part of it. While the jury was still out, Jenkins got word that his invention had been patented, and a manufacturer sent him a check for $5,000 as an advance.
Harry, that's wonderful.
You should have seen the look on Johnson's face when he heard about it.
Was he mad?
Sure he is. Now all he can do is accept the money the court has awarded, and Jenkins can well afford that now.
Well, I think that's wonderful. But how in the world did Mr. Jenkins find a lawyer to patent his invention for him? I thought you...
Mom, Daddy, I've got the most wonderful news about Mr. Jenkins.
Yes, dear Daddy told me what happened. Isn't that nice?
Golly, are the Jenkins excited?
Well, it seems to me they're not the only ones who are excited.
Well, Daddy, now I hope you're satisfied.
What do you mean?
Well, you won your suit, and your precious Mr. Johnson has his money. But I'm glad there are some lawyers in this world who understand human nature and are willing to help other people in distress.
You mean some lawyer helped Mr. Jenkins get his invention patented?
Yes, it was the strangest thing. The other day, Mr. Jenkins got a mysterious call from Washington, and some man Mr. Jenkins never heard of asked him if he'd send on the plans for his invention, and he'd see what he could do.
You don't say. What was this lawyer's name?
I don't know. I didn't ask Mr. Jenkins.
Uh-huh. I think I see.
What do you see, Mom?
Janet.
Yes, Harry, I see a lot of things, and I like what I see.
What do you mean, Mom?
Nothing, Corliss.
Well, I happened to notice our phone bill today, and the toll charges were unusually high this month.
But what has that got to do with Mr. Jenkins?
Corliss, about my suit. I'm sure Mr. Jenkins won't object to giving it back now that he's going to be rich.
Well, Daddy, I don't know how to tell you this, but the suit was altered to fit Mr. Jenkins, and it would never fit you now.
Well, I can have it altered back to my size.
Well, maybe you could, Daddy, but... Well, Mr. Jenkins gave it away.
What?
Yes, Daddy. He was so happy and so grateful to the people who'd been helping him that he gave the suit to... Well, to someone who's been helping him.
Oh, no. Who is this benefactor who's got my new suit?
Well, Daddy,
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Dexter.
Good evening, Dexter. Dexter Franklin, take off my suit.
More about Corliss Archer and her family in just a moment. For you and your family, now, a brief word. Your hosts, when you meet Corliss Archer each Sunday evening, are America's business-managed, tax-paying electric light and power companies. Each is a separate company, directly responsible to the customers in the area it serves and to thousands of people whose savings are invested in it. These companies join to bring you this program and these friendly talks to show you how, through business management, your electric service is kept ever ready, ever dependable. The biggest bargain in your family budget.
Dexter, don't you think my daddy is about the most wonderful man in the whole world? Imagine him calling up his friend in Washington about Mr. Jenkins and then not even letting Mr. Jenkins know about it.
Yeah.
That's the test of a really great man. He does a nice thing and doesn't talk about it.
Yeah, he sure is a swell guy. Why, do you know when I gave him back the suit, he just looked at it and then looked at me and said, "No, Dexter, you keep it."
There. You see? That just proves my point. He did a nice thing like that and didn't even tell me about it.
Yeah.
I wonder why he gave the suit back to you.
Now, I don't know. He couldn't have minded those grease spots from my bicycle. Because they'll come out when it's cleaned. And he couldn't have minded the tear in the coat from my car door because that can be mended. Maybe he just didn't like the color.
Dexter Franklin, how can you say a thing like that about Daddy? If he gave you the suit, it's because he wanted you to have it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He sure is a wonderful guy.
Meet Corliss Archer, starring Janet Waldo, is based on characters created by F. Hugh Herbert. It is a James L. Saphir production directed by Thomas A. McAvity. Today's script was written by Mr. McAvity. Dexter is played by Sam Edwards and Mr. and Mrs. Archer by Fred Shields and Irene Tedrow. The music was composed and conducted by Bill Fontaine. Corliss Archer, played by Shirley Temple, will be seen on the screen very shortly in A Kiss for Corliss. This is John Heasted, inviting you to join us again next week when America's business-managed electric light and power companies again invite you to meet Corliss Archer. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And now we invite you to meet Corliss Archer, America's teenage sweetheart, featuring Sam Edwards, Fred Shields, and Mary Jane Croft, and starring Janet Waldo.
Harry, weren't you able to get any sleep?
I'm afraid not.
Poor Daddy. Why didn't you try counting sheep?
Conscience wouldn't let me.
Your conscience, Daddy?
Corliss, just because I couldn't sleep was no reason to keep all those sheep awake.
Really, Harry, you're just wearing yourself out.
Well, I've never had a case like this before where the entire question of legal ownership of a valuable piece of property hinges on just one obscure point of law.
Yes, and after 2 weeks of worrying, tomorrow you go to court, no closer to finding that obscure point of law than when you started.
Oh, I wouldn't be too sure of that if I were you.
Harry, you found what you were looking for?
Yep.
You said it was impossible.
It is. That's why it took me so long.
Well, how'd you do it?
By spending 2 weeks on the telephone. I guess I must have called every law library within 1,000 miles of here. Yesterday afternoon, I finally struck pay dirt. A reference work that tells everything there is to know about those old Dutch land grants.
Oh, I'm so glad.
It's on its way, Air Express. And unless fate has something personal against Harry Archer, it will arrive here this afternoon.
Well, now when you go to court tomorrow, you'll be able to prove that the stipulations of the plaintiff's petition are based on hearsay and should not be admissible as evidence.
That's right.
Why, Mom.
What is it, dear?
Well, I never dreamed you knew so much about Daddy's law work.
You mean I surprised you?
Surprised surprise me. Can you think of a bigger surprise for a girl than to suddenly find out that her mother is a lady lawyer?
Yes, to suddenly find out that her father is.
I'm serious. Mom, tell me, how is it that you know so much about Daddy's work?
Well, when I first knew that I was going to be the wife of a handsome young attorney, I made it a point to read a few books and learn a little about the law.
When you first knew? You mean when Daddy asked you to marry him?
Corliss, your mother said when she first knew. That's at least 6 months before I first knew.
Well, I just think what Mom did was wonderful.
Oh, come on, honey, it isn't so wonderful. I think almost every woman tries to learn a little about her future husband's work. If for no other reason than to have an intelligent look on her face when he's talking to her.
Oh, golly.
What is, dear?
Oh, I just thought of something. Something horrible.
What's that?
Dexter!
That is pretty horrible.
Wait, Dexter doesn't even know yet what he's going to be when he grows up.
Then it's high time someone broke the bad news to him.
And if he doesn't know, how can... Oh, golly. I don't know where to begin. I haven't the slightest idea what books to read so that I can understand what Dexter's going to be.
I'd suggest something on abnormal psychology.
Harry. Corliss, dear, Dexter has plenty of time to decide what he's going to be. Why, he's still practically a child.
A child? Dexter? Mom, the last time Dexter got a haircut, the barber had to look at his face a second time to see if he needed a shave.
Corliss, there's only one reason anyone would look at Dexter's face a second time. Because he wasn't able to believe what he saw the first time.
Well, I think it's certainly time Dexter decided what he's going to be when he goes out into the world, so that we can both get ready for it.
Yes, and don't forget, Corliss, the world's got to have a little time to get ready for Dexter, too.
Did you say you had something special you wanted to talk to me about, Corliss?
I certainly have. Dexter, has it ever occurred to you that someday you'll become a man?
Well, yeah, I kind of figured something like that might happen.
Well, Dexter, what I'm driving at is, have you ever given a thought to what you're going to do when you become a man? As to what your life's work is going to be?
As a matter of fact, Corliss, my parents and I were talking about it just the other day.
You were?
Yeah. And according to my old man, my life's work is all cut out for me.
Oh, Dexter, what?
Trying to graduate from high school.
Dexter, please be serious. We've got to decide what to do with your life so that I'll know what to prepare myself for. Haven't you even the slightest inkling of what you want to be?
Yeah. Retired.
Hello?
Hello, Janet. Did the book come?
Came this very minute, dear. I was just about to call you.
Oh, thank heaven.
Listen, Mary's coming by in a minute to take me to a club meeting, so why don't I leave a note for Corliss to have Dexter bring it down to you when they get home from school?
No.
No?
Something would happen to it.
Oh, Harry, really, Dexter isn't that silly. It's just that occasionally he has something on his mind.
Well, whatever it is, it's leading a lonely life. I'll tell you, Janet, just leave the book in the study, huh? On my desk.
All right, dear.
On second thought, that desk is a little too easy to get to.
Oh, Harry, really, how cautious can you get?
Janet, there are two powerful destructive forces in this world. One makes a blinding flash, a tremendous sound, and a huge mushroom cloud. The other one goes around saying, "Holy cow!"
Well, what do you want me to do with this book?
I guess there's only one safe place for it.
Where's that?
The bookshelf in the study, with my other law books. Take it out of the package and just put it in with the rest.
I'll do it right away, dear.
Thanks. See you later, dear.
Bye, dear.
Gee whiz, Corliss, that sure is a dirty trick Mr. Masters is pulling on us.
Well, just because he suddenly decided to give us a little history test tomorrow?
He may call it a little history test. I call it a sneak attack.
Don't worry about it, Dex. You'll pass.
Well, gee, I don't know. The test is going to be mostly on the origins of the 13 American colonies.
Well, what of it?
Corliss, the last time I opened my history book, Nero had just begun to fiddle.
Oh. Well, it isn't too hopeless for you, Dex. You're only 3,000 years behind the rest of the class.
Yeah, that's true.
Meanwhile, try not to think of it. At least not until you get home.
Okay.
Let's think of the future, of how successful and wealthy you're going to be someday.
Gee, do you really think I'll ever be rich, Corliss?
Oh, I just know you will, Dex. You're going to make so much money, I won't know what to do with it.
Well, according to my old man, there are only 2 ways left for a fellow to get rich these days. The first one is to strike oil. And the only way I'll ever do that is to run into a mobile gas station with my hot rod. The other is to marry the boss's daughter. And I can't do that. I'm going to marry you.
Oh, I'm sure there must be other ways to... The boss's daughter. Dexter, that's it.
What?
A lawyer. You're going to be a lawyer.
Well, gee whiz, you got to be pretty smart to be a lawyer.
Oh, don't worry about that. Daddy will do all the brain work. Not only his own, but yours, too, for the good of the partnership.
Holy cow, what partnership?
Well, you and Daddy. Partners. Dex, can't you just see it?
Not from where I'm standing.
Well, it's just as plain as anything. The 2 of you, Harry Archer and son-in-law, attorneys at law.
Holy cow!
Well, Bill Franklin, friend and neighbor.
Hi, Harry. You going home, too?
No, I'm just on my way to court. Don't tell me you're heading home this early. Well, it isn't even 3:30.
No, just going home to do a little work. Murray's been after me to clean out the attic. Wants me to get all the old books together and send them over to the Servicemen's Club.
What sort of books, Bill?
Oh, some old books of Dexter's that we've had knocking around the attic for years. Sizzlers like Jack the Giant Killer, The Gingerbread Boy, and Little Red Riding Hood.
Bill, I don't think any soldier or sailor will care about reading those. Not unless Little Red Riding Hood's 18 and wearing a bikini.
Now, when Daddy comes in, Dex, don't say a word. Let me tell him.
Oh, gosh, Corliss, a guy's got to have a lot on the ball before he can become a lawyer.
Oh, Dex, it's really very easy.
Easy?
Honestly. Anytime you have a problem, all you do is look it up in a book.
That's all there is to it?
Well, no, a lawyer has to remember to send all his clients' bills, too. Daddy will do that, though. All you have to do is sit back and look legal.
What kind of books do you look these things up in?
Well, law books, naturally, like the ones in the bookshelf in Daddy's study. Dex, I have a wonderful idea.
Holy cow, now what?
Why don't you read some of Daddy's law books?
Well, all right, Corliss. But pick out a couple with pictures.
CBS Radio rings you in on the fabulous adventures of insurance investigator Johnny Dollar. Just by decoding the cryptic items on his expense account, you'll learn how a dime spent in a telephone booth can lead to a scene of the wildest suspense. Each new expenditure moves the story forward to its dramatic payoff when Johnny Dollar solves yet another case of arson, fraud, or murder. Now back to Corliss Archer.
Oh, hello, Corliss.
Oh, Daddy. Oh, I'm glad you came home early. I have something I want to talk to you about. Something that's simply wonderful.
Can't it wait a while, baby? I have a lot of work to do.
Oh, poor Daddy. You work awfully hard, don't you?
Let's see now. First, I better get my reference work down from the bookshelf.
Well, pretty soon your work is going to be cut exactly in half. Think of it.
Fine. Huh, that's funny. Where in the world
Daddy,
is
when
that
I
book?
tell you what Dexter and I decided, you are going to be so thrilled. Of course, Dexter won't be the smartest lawyer in the world, but he'll be 100% honest. and he'll make you a wonderful partner.
Yes, I'm sure. Huh? Look here, what in heaven's name are you babbling about?
Well, you and Dexter, of course. I'm trying to tell you how wonderful it'll be when you and Dexter are partners.
Partners? You mean me and that... Me and that?
But, Daddy, if you'll only give Dexter a chance to prove what he really is...
What Dexter really is something that can never be proven.
But I know he could be a help to you, and he'd work so hard. He'd just work his brain to the bone for you.
He wouldn't have far to go.
But, Daddy...
Corliss, I have a lot on my mind as it is, and I'm not going to cloud it up further with thoughts of an incompetent dope.
Oh, Daddy, you just don't know Dexter like I do. You've never sat with him on the porch swing on a moonlit night, sighing sighs, or sat through a romantic movie with him and kissed him in the balcony.
No, but I've often toyed with the idea of kicking him in the mezzanine. Now, look, Corliss, I have other things to think about. I have to prepare a brief by tomorrow morning, and unless your mother comes home soon and tells me what she did with that book, I'm going to be in trouble.
Book, Daddy? What book?
The book I've been looking for all this time, the reference I need for my brief.
A book? Oh, golly.
Yes, Corliss?
I loaned Dexter some of your law books a little while ago. I took them from the shelf.
You what?
Well, Daddy, I just wanted him to learn a little about what it was like to be a lawyer, so that when you and he...
Look here, young lady. You go right next door this minute and bring back those books.
I'll go right away, Daddy.
And if for some reason you can't bring back those books, bring back that teenage Clarence Darrow. And hurry.
Hello, Dex. I'm sorry to interrupt you like this when you're studying.
Gee, that's all right, Corliss. You know I don't mind you interrupting me when I'm studying. Come to think of it, I don't mind if anybody interrupts me when I'm studying.
Dex, you know those law books I loaned you.
Uh-huh.
I've got to take them back. One of them's important. Daddy's got to do something with it for his brief.
His brief?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what a brief is. Every lawyer always has something or other to do with a brief. Daddy says sometimes they're a lot of trouble.
Holy cow, why doesn't he wear something else?
Well, now, Dex, don't you get up from your history book. Just tell me where those law books of Daddy's are, and I'll get them.
Okay. Let's see, where did I put those things? Oh, I remember. I left them out in the hall there with those other books that Pop brought down from the attic.
But, Dex, I didn't notice any books in your hallway when I came in.
Well, of course not. The guy came and called for them about 10 minutes ago. Holy cow!
Dexter, what is it?
Pop told me to tell the man to take all the books he found in the hallway. He must have taken the law books, too.
Oh, golly. Daddy said one of those books is absolutely vital. His whole case depends on it.
Holy cow.
We've just got to find that book. We must.
Well, gee whiz, how?
We'll go right downtown and find out where the books for the armed services are taken.
Well, there goes my law career.
I'm worried, Harry. They've been gone for hours.
Oh, first I lose a law book. Tomorrow I'm going to lose a trial. And right now it looks like I've lost a daughter.
Well, where do you think they could have gone?
I don't know, Janet. I keep asking myself, if I were an incompetent dope like Dexter and I were supposed to be home, where would I be?
Listen, wait. I think I hear Dexter's car outside. Yes, here they come.
Oh, thank heaven.
Now, Harry, please. I mean, don't... Well, it may not be entirely Dexter's fault.
Don't worry, Janet. I'm so relieved that they're safe, I'll probably wind up kissing them both. According to Corliss, that's about the only way anyone can really get to understand the real Dexter.
Hello, Daddy. Mom?
Hello, Mr. Archer. I guess you thought we'd never get here.
Daddy, you see, it was like this. I gave the books to Dexter, and Dexter put them down in the hall with the books of soldiers, and then he had to study for a history exam because he's 3,000 years behind, and so when the man came, he took them, and we've been looking ever since, and golly, you have no idea how many warehouses there are in this town.
Now that Corliss has explained everything so well, I guess I'll be running along. Good night, Mrs. Archer.
Now, see here, both of you. Have either of you any idea how worried we were? Have you?
Well, yes. I know the book is absolutely vital.
Corliss, we were not worried about your father's law book, although that's important enough. We were worried about you.
Oh, Mom.
And Dexter's parents are practically frantic. Well, do you know that they have been...
Well, I thought I saw the car. So they finally got here, huh?
Hello, Pop.
Don't you hello pop me. Dexter, what's the meaning of this?
Oh, gee whiz, Pop. We kind of lost track of time. We knew we had to find Mr. Archer's book, and so we looked all over for it.
Harry, is this it?
Yes. Where in the world did you find it, Bill?
On Dexter's desk, just now.
What?
Our student here was using it to keep his history book propped open.
Dexter!
Oh, for the love of... You mean it was there all this time?
Gee whiz, it's sure funny how things happen.
Some of the things that happen when I get you home aren't going to be so funny.
But, Pop...
And you wanted to be a lawyer.
But, Daddy, it was just a little mistake. Everyone makes a little mistake now and then. Don't they, Mr. Franklin?
His mother and I sure did.
Daddy, please, I'm sure Dexter will be a wonderful lawyer if you'll just be patient with him for the next 12 or 13 years.
If Dexter had taken just 5 minutes to look around before rushing off in all directions, he'd have found this book and all this worry might have been avoided.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Archer.
Well, thank you. I'm glad my learned colleague agrees. What if I conducted my business like that? Suppose, for example, tomorrow morning I walked into the wrong courtroom. And take this book, for instance. Where would I be if I hadn't spent 2 weeks tracking it down?
Harry.
Just a minute, Bill. What I'm trying to tell you, too, is that nobody but a fool fails to make sure first, before he acts.
Harry.
What is it, Bill?
I wish you'd open that book and take a good look at it.
Huh? It's a book on Dutch land grants. What?
Somehow I didn't think you'd expect to find it written in Dutch.
Oh.
I tried to tell you. I hope it isn't going to upset your case too much.
Oh, no. All I have to do is learn how to read Dutch by tomorrow morning. Then I can find out how long the old deeds and titles of the New Amsterdam colony are good for.
Gee whiz, is that all you want to know?
That's all.
The Dutch settlers of New Amsterdam were granted their land by the King in Holland in perpetuity for as long as they swore allegiance to the Crown of Orange, providing that their heirs and assigns use the land for production of produce, grain, or cattle, the selection of which crop to be decided solely by the patroon.
Huh? Look here, this is no time for any of your jokes.
Gee whiz, Mr. Archer, it's no joke to me. It's the only thing I had time to memorize for my history exam tomorrow.
You mean it's in your history book?
Yes, sir, it sure is. Along with a lot of other things that I don't know. 3,000 years worth.
Well, I'll be. The thing I've been looking for has been in a high school history book all this time. Dexter, it looks like I can be just as much of an incompetent dope as you are.
Gee, Mr. Archer, that's just about the nicest thing you ever said to me.
The quiz is as exciting as a quiz can be, but what is even more exciting on Strike It Rich is the human interest. For Strike It Rich is the quiz show that gives folks an opportunity to win cash prizes for worthy causes. Get in on the thrills. Get in on the human interest every Monday through Friday when CBS Radio says Strike It Rich on most of these same stations. Now back to Corliss and Dexter.
Dex, you simply can't change your mind about being a lawyer. Not after you've made such a brilliant showing in your very first case.
Well, gee, I don't know, Corliss. I had a long talk with my old man about it. He just doesn't think I'm cut out to be a lawyer.
Well, what does he think you should be?
He didn't say exactly. He just said that everybody ought to try and make a career out of the thing he enjoys doing the most.
Well, Dex, of course. Why didn't we think of that? Oh, Dex, what do you enjoy doing the most?
You know.
You mean kissing and holding my hand?
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to make a career out of it, but if there's a way to make it possible, boy, will I find it.
Meet Corliss Archer, starring Janet Waldo, is based on characters created by F. Hugh Herbert. It's a James L. Saphir production, directed by Stephen Haytis. Our script is by Michael Cramoy. Dexter is played by Sam Edwards, and Mr. and Mrs. Archer by Fred Shields and Mary Jane Croft. Mr. Franklin was played by Ken Christie. Music was composed by Felix Mills. Now, this is Roy Rowan inviting you to tune in again next week at the same time to Meet Corliss Archer. Stay tuned for Two for the Money, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. Wherever you go with radio and the CBS Radio Network.